Tio, the fan base won the derby, and somehow they are angrier today than if they'd lost. I've been processing thousands of comments since yesterday, and the overwhelming mood is not celebration. It's fury. Pure, barely contained fury.
Which tells you everything about where Madrid fans are emotionally right now. Yes, 3-2. Yes, Vinicius was magnificent. Yes, 3 points. But the refereeing performance has completely consumed the narrative. The joy lasted about 45 minutes before the corruption discourse took over.
And honestly, can you blame them? One fan summed it up perfectly, además de corrupto, chulo, basically saying not only corrupt, but arrogant about it. That's the double outrage. It's not just the decisions, it's the attitude, the feeling that the officials don't even try to hide it anymore.
The Valverde red card is the specific wound that will not close. Fans are calling it cynically premeditated. Sacar una tarjeta roja a Valverde para que no quede ninguna duda del arbitraje vergonzoso contra el Real Madrid. Meaning, showing Valverde a red card just to make sure there's no doubt about the shameful refereeing against Real Madrid. The conspiracy reading is that it was almost a message.
13 fans specifically on the Valverde topic alone, and the top comment has 60 upvotes. Federación Corrupción with like 4 rage emojis. Madre mia. And look, I've been saying since Wednesday's pre-derby episode that the refereeing paranoia was at peak levels. But after what happened yesterday, I genuinely don't think it's paranoia anymore.
Let me steelman the other side for a second, because that's my job. Valverde did make contact. It was a late challenge. In a vacuum, without any context, you can construct an argument for red. The problem is that the same standards were not applied symmetrically across the 90 minutes, and that asymmetry is what fans, correctly, pick up on.
And Mbappé fans are pointing this out too. La entrada que sufrió Mbappé, y según los antis fue caricias y flores, which roughly translates as the foul on Mbappé was described as gentle and harmless, but the Valverde challenge was treated like attempted murder. The double standard argument is everywhere this morning.
Now, and this is where it gets genuinely fascinating, Arbeloa apparently went directly to the referee Munuera after the match to demand explanations. And the fan description of what happened next is just extraordinary. One fan wrote, lo de Munuera, explicándole a Arbeloa y pidiéndole que le deje explicarse y deje de interrumpirle, mientras Arbeloa guarda silencio es surrealismo puro. Basically, Munuera begging Arbeloa to let him explain himself while Arbeloa just stood there in silence. Pure surrealism.
That image, Arbeloa, stone-cold silent, while the referee is frantically trying to justify himself. That has 37 upvotes, and fans are absolutely loving it. De 10, Arbeloa dándoles educación a los corruptos. 10 out of 10, Arbeloa giving the corrupt ones a lesson in class. The man is becoming a folk hero, Tio.
We've been building the Arbeloa legend on this show for weeks now. The Man City win, the press conference moments, and every single week he adds another chapter. The squad is reportedly behind him too, which is significant. When a coach has genuine dressing room backing after a difficult season, that's not nothing.
And the broader La Liga corruption discourse has completely exploded again. One fan wrote this absolute wall of text, hasta que no se limpie y sancione al FC Negreira Chelona, al CTA, VAR, a todos los árbitros, basically demanding a full purge of Spanish football institutions before anything can be trusted. It goes on. Liga, media, government, the whole system.
The Negreira case is the fuel that keeps this fire burning. Because for Madrid fans, that case established a precedent. That institutional corruption in Spanish football is not a conspiracy theory, it's documented. So every questionable decision gets filtered through that lens now. Whether that's fair in each individual case is debatable. But the underlying anger has a legitimate foundation.
Another fan put it bleakly but brilliantly. Esta liga no nos dejarán ganarla. Está todo atado y bien atado. They won't let us win this league. Everything is tied up and locked down. Vamos, the sense of a rigged game. And with 8 fans on the La Liga topic generating some of the most upvoted comments of the whole batch, this isn't a fringe view.
Right, but let's also hold on to the fact that they won yesterday, with 10 men, in a derby, 3-2. If the system is rigged, it's not working very well. That's actually the irony that a few cooler-headed fans are pointing out.
Que barbaridad, that's a fair point. Vinicius winning it, despite everything, despite the Valverde red, despite the foul on Mbappé going unpunished, is almost the most Madrid thing that could happen. And speaking of Vinicius, there's a story developing that I think is being somewhat buried under all the refereeing noise.
The renewal. Yes. Marca is reporting it's imminent, and fans are starting to react. Vinicius Jr. tiene que renovar. Hala Madrid. Simple, direct, emphatic. After yesterday's performance, I think the number of people who would argue against that has dropped to basically zero.
But there's one interesting undercurrent in the Vinicius fan comments that caught my attention. Someone wrote, Vinicius quiere decidir quién debe ser el técnico del Madrid, basically claiming Vini is trying to influence who the next manager is. Now, that's a spicy claim, and I don't know how much weight to put on it, but it's getting traction.
That's worth watching carefully. If Vinicius is genuinely inserting himself into the coaching conversation, that's a significant dynamic, especially if Arbeloa's future beyond this season is still uncertain. A superstar player with that kind of leverage can shape decisions. We've seen it at other clubs.
And the Vini Simeone moment is also getting replayed endlessly. He apparently told the Atletico bench, me vanna vender, they're going to sell me, basically mocking what Simeone's camp had been saying. That's peak Vinicius shithousery, and fans are absolutely obsessed with it.
We talked about the revenge tour narrative back on Wednesday, and honestly, he delivered. The Araujo reference is also circulating again. One fan bringing up the brutal foul in a Clásico that could have ended his career, and the way Spanish media minimized it. The argument being that Vinicius has been absorbing institutional disrespect for years and is now channeling it into pure performance fuel.
And then there's the Champions League angle. With the quarterfinals coming, one fan is already posting 15 champions. Así os recibiremos Bayern München, basically a welcome message to Bayern Munich. The confidence levels after Man City and now this derby are genuinely through the roof.
Although, and I have to mention this because it's a fascinating counterpoint, one fan posted the most brutally honest take in the entire dataset. El Real Madrid es una gran mentira, un equipo que en toda la temporada no ha jugado bien. Basically, calling the whole thing a beautiful lie. A team that hasn't played well all season, but is somehow still competing for everything.
And you know what? I've been thinking about this since the Man City win. Is it a lie or is it just a different kind of truth? There's a fan quote from yesterday. Contra todo y contra todos, Hala Madrid y nada más. Against everything and everyone, Hala Madrid and nothing else. That's not delusion. That's identity. That is the club.
All right. So to summarize the mood of Real Madrid Twitter, YouTube, and whatever corners of the internet we crawled through, ecstatic about the result, furious about the refereeing, deeply invested in Arbeloa's silent intimidation tactics, and cautiously optimistic about a Vinicius renewal. It's a lot.
It's always a lot with this club, Tio. Tomorrow we're back at 7, and there's no match tonight. So tomorrow's episode will be all about where this week lands us heading into whatever comes next in the Liga and the build-up to Bayern. The corruption discourse will still be running hot, I guarantee it. Hala Madrid y nada más.
We'll be here. Don't forget to leave your take in the comments. Are the referees actually corrupt, or is Madrid just addicted to victimhood? Genuinely asking. See you tomorrow.